everybody. Welcome to my new studio. I am so happy to be here. It's Aaron Blaise in our new permanent, or something. Is anything really permanent? But we're going to be in this studio for a long time. We got like 3 times more space. I got my buddy Nick Birch right here. Hey, everybody. Got Dustin over there on the other side. We've actually got our desks facing each other. We're sitting in the middle of the room because this is going to give us a lot more room to set up cameras around, and we don't have all the furniture in here yet, and it might be a little echoey today because we don't have the sound dampening in place, but we are so excited to be set up in here and working, and very happy. So anyway, so welcome. And I want to get some stuff out of the way before we start drawing. I want to remind you guys that we've got a really big sale going on at creatureartteacher.com. You know, Nick and I got together. We had, over the course of the COVID outbreak, we had dropped our prices way down, and then gradually we had to bring them back up. But once we hit the 1-year mark, we decided, you know, there's still a lot of people that are hurting. There's still a lot of people that are broke. So we decided to drop everything back down again. So if you go on over to creatureartteacher.com, you're going to find courses that are up for $1. There's going to be some that will be $3, $5, $10, whatever. There's a lot of really great courses there. My character design course is at its lowest price that it's ever been. And that's our most popular course, or one of, that is the most popular course, isn't it? Yeah, it's the most popular course. And so we've dropped it way down. So go on over to creatureartteacher.com, load up, get whatever you want, because we're going to have to bring these prices back up again eventually. But in the meantime, until we get out of the COVID, until we get all back on track again, we just want to be able to help you guys out and make sure that if you're going to be staying at home, stay home and learn something, and take these courses and better your drawing and your painting or whatever it might be. Put some beauty back into the world, because that's what we need right now. Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to share with you is, you know, I recently put out a course on facial expressions, and I've jumped right onto the next course, and I'm doing a course now on figure drawing, costumed. So costumed figure drawing, but with an emphasis on understanding folds and fabric and that sort of thing. It's a big thing that artists struggle with. You know, when we go through art school, so many of us, we learn to draw the human figure, but then when you get out into the world and you're doing illustrations, most of the times you need to draw a figure that's clothed, not nude. We all drew figures nude, but it was funny that I did so little costumed figure drawing until I went to Disney, and there we did a lot of costume figure drawing. And so I wanted to put a course out for that, so that you guys could understand clothing and fabrics and different types of fabrics. And one thing I wanted to share with you, if you go to my desktop, Dustin. Yep. You can see we did a photo shoot with the family. Basically, went through and spent the day. I was directing everybody on how I wanted the folds. I wanted to give you a really good, and this is only one of many shoots we're going to do, and we're going to include these photos in with the course. So there's going to be tons of reference, such as my father taking a jacket off. I know it sounds weird, but these are things that you might have to do in an illustration, or you'll get really complex folds. This is my stepdaughter. We went out to a thrift stores and bought all kinds of different dresses and billowy things and frilly things, and so she got to model all kinds of different dresses. And then my girlfriend Vedanta, her mother, she got some really cool stuff as well. So there's a lot of really neat stuff in here, and I've already started working from it. So I'm using these things as reference, as you will, and you'll learn a lot. I'm going to be talking about there's basically 7 types of folds and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into that, plus we're going to get into a lot of different characters. So we are very heatedly creating this course, and it'll be up for a pre-sale in the next few weeks. So check out, look for that. But other than that, do we have any other housekeeping things to take care of? I think we're good. So Dustin, did I miss anything? Can you think of?
Not at the top of my head, no.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start drawing.
Hey.
when we were so focused on, oh, this is the other thing I want to mention. This print right here, I'm going to be doing more in this series. This is this was the tigers print. These are tiger butterflies on a tiger in India. These butterflies are not monarchs. These are actually called tiger butterflies, and they're from India. Oh, sure. And Nick and I offered this as a signed print the other day, and it sold out in a day. And we're going to be doing more of these. I just want to give you guys a heads up in case you're interested in getting
There's
prints.
still unsigned versions available.
Oh, that's right. So you can still get this print if you like this print, but they're not going to be signed. It was the signed edition was limited to 50. It was first come, first serve. So we've done that, but now you can still get an unsigned version as well. That's all we got. So I'm going to be doing more of those. We've got more prints coming up, so be on the lookout for those. So today, I was going through my reference, and I really had no idea what I was going to do. And I found this, we did a photo shoot, Nick and I, in Montana a few years ago. And this is Smokey, the mountain lion. He's a captive mountain lion that we brought out into the mountains of Montana and let him run through the snow, and we photographed him. Got some great stuff. And this pose in particular, I really love the angular qualities of the composition and the way the cat is looking right back down the line of the composition. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to do something with this. It's all flat light, which I don't like, so I'm going to probably add some drama with some added shadows and direct sunlight. But I like this pose, I like this composition, and so I thought we'd just get in there and start sketching, and there you go. Yeah, I did the same thing, Dustin. I completely forgot to bring my drink in here. Now I'm parched. Sorry, I was going to say I can run out and grab it real quick, and you guys can take over. But no, I'll do. So let's do we'll do 18 by 24. I like doing 18 by 24 compositions because, and I'm going to do this one vertical actually instead of horizontal, I think, because one of the things I don't like about this composition is that kind of line is breaking that image right in half, and I want to be able to shift it one way or the other. So I'm going to try going vertical first, and we'll put the lion, the mountain lion, up at the top, up towards the top. I'm already dry mouth. You got any questions coming up there, Dustin?
Not at the moment.
So welcome, welcome, welcome. First drawing in the new studio. So now, rather than having this turn, oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Nothing beats ice water.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
All right, so what I want to do is I want to get this, I got to darken my line work first. So what I want to...
advice for poor artists that can't afford anything?
Well, you keep doing it because you love it. You got to eat. Well, if you're a poor artist that can't afford anything, well, you eat first. You're going to have to eat. But you're going to have to just keep driving forward, and eventually it'll come together. You know, I was a poor artist that couldn't afford anything at one time as well, and it was a lot of eating biscuits and potatoes and rice and anything I could find. Ramen noodles. Remember the days of ramen noodles, Nick? Did you ever have those days where that's all you could afford was ramen noodles?
I had caviar.
So. Okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot caviar.
Caviar and Teddy Ruxpin.
You did have a Teddy Ruxpin. That reminds me, we watched Ted the other night. I couldn't stop laughing.
Patrick McGinley asked, "Hi guys."
Hey, how's it going, eh?
How's it going? Hope the new house is working out and the new studio looks great. I also love the acoustics. Any chance of a song, Aaron?
A song?
A song?
Oh, the songs have to be spontaneous, man. We can't just ask for songs. What are you, crazy? I get stage fright.
I think I'm crazy.
Yeah, Dustin will sing. Come on, Dustin.
Mohammed Amraoui.
Uh-huh.
I think that's how you pronounce it. I do apologize if I mispronounce it, but you think with 3D max hand drawing will still be important in the future?
3D max. Say that. What is it?
3D max hand drawing.
3D max. I don't know what that is. What is that, Nick? 3D.
With 3D Max, the software.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's. I didn't understand the phrasing. Will hand drawing be obsolete? Is that what he's saying? No,
will it still be important in the future?
Of course. Oh yeah. Anything. It will always be important. Yes. You know, just because photography came along, it didn't get rid of painting. It didn't get rid of drawing.
You know, just because mobile phones got cameras on didn't make cameras dead.
Yeah, and that too.
That too. Those little mobile phones, man. John Gomez asks, "Are you guys getting into NFT or Nifty?" No,
we did announce it. We didn't really research it a lot when we jumped into it, and so, but you know, one thing I want to mention is that we like to listen to our followers and our customers, and so we jumped in with the intention of doing one, see where it would go, but then we discovered that there's a huge environmental impact on making those, and so and we had several people request that we don't do them until that's figured out, and so we listened and decided to wait. So we're not doing NFTs right now. No.
Just gonna pick all the dust out here. It's Kate.
I know. But that's a good spot though, isn't it? I think because of the accessibility.
Yeah.
So putting the cat up here enables me to make the composition a little less even and gives it make him feel like he's a little higher up. And this drawing is not quite where it should be.
And got a question from Jade Price. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going, eh?
How's it going, eh? I got your wolves, foxes, and coyotes course. Are African wild dogs similar in the family wise as I was watching an African wildlife documentary the other day? So are African wild dogs similar in those families?
Yeah, I mean they're definitely canids, but they've obviously evolved in a different region and so have evolved different traits and everything else. But they are definitely canids. They're dogs.
You know, what's crazy is that a lot of people think that hyenas are in the dog family.
Yeah, a lot of people do think that, and they're not. You know, hyenas are probably more related to a cat than a dog, but their closest relative is a mongoose. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, mongoose.
Here's a question. Edwin on YouTube asks, did you have a franchise planned for Brother Bear after the first one was released, like any spin-offs or prequels or sequels that never got greenlit?
Well, there was a sequel that was already planned while we were making it, and it was made. There is a Brother Bear 2.
He did say in parentheses, besides the direct-to-video one. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So, no, there wasn't, no.
But you didn't have any involvement.
I had no involvement with any of that. I've never even seen the direct-to-video one. I've never seen Brother Bear 2. But yeah, it's my job to get a good movie out. And if it does well, then it's Disney's job to decide what they want to do with it. You know, so we did our best as far as getting the film done and creating something good. And the movie did okay. It wasn't a big blockbuster. But you know what I recently found? I was playing it for Nick the other day, you know, because I had to unpack I've had a lot of stuff in storage for the last 10 years. because I was living in different houses and changing my domicile. And I found one of Phil Collins' demo tapes that he had written for the funeral in Brother Bear, and all the different stems and everything that he wrote for us and recorded for us. I've got it all on CD. It's really cool. I'm gonna have to research what's legal to play and what's not, and if we can do it, I want to play it for you guys. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not liking the.
You know, it's funny about you say about Brother Bear doing okay.
Yeah.
It's all sort of relative when you get down to it. A lot of it's expectations, right?
It is.
Because like Sonic the Hedgehog made 300 million. Brother Bear made like 260 or something, right?
Yeah, 280 around the world. Yeah,
so
worldwide.
Sonic's considered a gigantic hit because the expectations were lower.
Yeah.
Brother Bear, because it was a Disney animated film, was considered.
Yeah.
And yet their budgets and everything were probably about the same. It's just.
Yeah. Yeah, our budget actually may have been less because I know the budgets have grown, and our budget was 90 million. We brought it in for 83 million or 84 million. We actually brought it in under budget.
Leandro Rubble says, "Hey Aaron,
hey,
which one of the animation feature films nominated do you think should win the Oscar?"
I want Wolfwalkers to win. I love Soul and I love Pete Docter and I think he's a brilliant director and a great guy. But I love Wolfwalkers, and I think it's really different and gutsy, and for that alone, I think it should be in the running. But it also takes good story and good execution, in which Wolfwalkers has done. And Tom Moore and who's the other director? I can't remember his name. I feel like an idiot. I'm sorry, but they're just brilliant directors, and I really love that movie. I love it.
Love it.
Love it. I love it.
Love it.
Actually, I'm kind of liking this a little better. I got to get the abstract shapes in here a little more.
And Martin Berger asks, how do you like the new house? Do you have enough space for your art?
We have got twice as much space as I did at the other house, so I'm loving it. Lots of space. Everything. The way I've been telling everybody is that just everything is better. The studio is better. You know, sleeping is better. Hanging out at night is better.
Yeah, no more a lot of excuse me, coming through. Let me lean over there so I can get that wire.
Yeah. You know, when Vedanta and I was at that house for a long time by myself as a bachelor, you know, and then my family grew when Vedanta and I got together, and so we've had 3 years of really tight space in there. So it's nice to be able to breathe again. Have space.
And Arturo Garcia asks, watching your live stream with all those old Disney sketches you did, how does it feel to have Oscar nominated and winning pieces of production work of animated classics that have been part of the childhoods of millions of people around the world, just sitting on your shelves or stored in your garage?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, it feels pretty cool, and trust me, I gotta pinch myself every once in a while because I know how lucky I am to have that memorabilia, and it's, you know, and I've got a different perspective on it too because I lived it. You know, I was there making that stuff, so it's doubly cool for me. I loved making those movies. I loved when the movies became hits and we realized we did something really cool, you know, and then the next one became a hit and the next one became a hit. It was such a fun time to be making animated films back then. And we're all really young and just having fun and That was it. We just had fun doing it.
Here's a fun one. If you got to run a food truck, what would it be and where would you sell it?
Ooh.
Where would you be and what would you sell? Yeah, you run a food truck.
I can see it as a barbecue.
I was thinking about Cuban sandwiches. I love Cuban sandwiches. Cuban food. I don't know enough about Cuban food though. What can I do? I would do, man, that's a tough one. Would it be?
Selena and I have talked about it. There was this lady in Sarasota that at the market, she used to have a Saturday morning market or whatever, farmer's market. She's still there. She does these amazing empanadas.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant because you just make them all up in advance and then they're just, you just have hot boxes and you're just handing them out.
Yeah.
And it's like, that would be the genius
Yeah.
food truck thing.
Actually, you just nailed it. You know what I would do? I would do Goiza.
Oh,
Just Goiza. That's my favorite thing in the world. When I was in China, I swear I gained another 10 pounds just eating steamed dumplings. And all kinds of them. I love making them. We've got bamboo steamers and we make them by hand. And that's it. That's what I would do. Steamed dumplings, do Goiza, anything Asian. Oh, matter of fact, we just found like 10 miles south of here, perfect Japanese ramen.
oh, cool.
Place. Yep. Nick and I have this great experience where Nick and I were in Tokyo a few years ago, and we got up early. I think we were a little hungover, and we went out in the rain. It was raining in Tokyo. It was just the coolest kind of atmosphere, and we found the perfect little ramen shop. And we sat under the plastic. Remember, it was pouring rain. We sat at this little outdoor table with our steaming bowls of ramen and ate. And it was such a cool experience.
Michelle McAdams asks, will you do more t-shirts soon? I love my awesome possum.
Oh, shoot. Well, yeah, it's funny. When we do these like t-shirts and things like that, at the time it's like, yeah, we got to do more of these, and we get really, it's really cool. But then we get sidetracked and we do other things, and yeah, t-shirts we could definitely do some more t-shirts at some point. Our big drive right now is I want to get this next course done, and then the drive is going to be Snow Bear, getting that out the door and done. Because it's only been, 3 years, 4 years? 6 years.
Kevin Stockard says, if I want to get into storyboard work for commercials, television industry, what types of drawings should I have in my portfolio?
Well, you should definitely have sequential drawing, right? You want to do storyboards. Storyboarding is sequential drawing. So you need to have sequences of drawings that are going to tell a story. And you want that story to be simple, clear, unique. You want it to grab the viewer. You want it to be dramatic. Think about, their staging. Every shot needs to tell a story, or at least a piece of that story that you're storyboarding. And so the staging in that shot, the composition, that's going to help tell that particular story in that particular section. And so you got to think about all of that. I would recommend looking at cinematography books and screen filming, things like that, to help you with your storyboarding. But it's got to be, you have to have good staging, but most of all, the business. Whatever your character, you have to be able to put something in there where your character performs in a way that we understand who that character is and what they're all about and all that kind of stuff. Storyboarding is acting.
Kirk Michael says, hey Aaron, I just got myself a Cintiq 22.
Nice.
Do you think Cintiqs need screen protectors?
No, I don't. Mine doesn't. I think screen protectors kind of dull the lights too, so I don't use a screen protector.
And Christian KM asks, is the Florida mountain lion different enough from the ones here in the West that would have any differences in the way it's drawn?
Yes, it is drawn a little differently. It is a Felis concolor corii. That's the Latin name for the Florida panther. But they are technically the same species, but they're just a subspecies. But they are smaller, much more slender. You know, I don't think they grow much over 100 pounds, the males, and the females are usually around 60 pounds. They're not really giant cats like the Western mountain lions.
Could you one day do a demo on animating hand gestures?
I can do a demo, sure. But what's that all about over there?
Just trying to readjust the desk, and it went a little too loosey-goosey.
Oh, the trigger?
Yeah, I'm just pulling on the lever and went, oh boy. But I'm good. Continue.
Yeah, but as far as doing hand gestures, that to me, that's all part of. It's not so much understanding the hand gesture, because I don't want people to get too focused on mechanics. It's really just understanding the acting. What's the idea behind the hand gesture? What's the character trying to convey? What are they thinking? What's the emotion? And let it come out of that. It's really not, you know, I'll talk about mechanics of like runs and walks, and there are mechanics to that. But when we're talking about hand gestures, you want to talk, you know, and I talk with my hands, and but it just comes natural. It comes out of the acting. It comes out of what you're trying to say.
Israel Val says, hi Aaron, I have a question.
Okay.
Are you going to put Spanish subtitles in your Photoshop painting course? I'm dying to do that course, but I don't know English.
I think there are.
I think there are, yeah. There should be already. Which course was it?
The Photoshop painting course?
Yeah, the digital painting. If it's not, which I think it already is. If it's not, it will be. Because most of our courses are subtitled in Spanish and Portuguese.
That one might only have English. I'm looking at.
Okay.
Oversight.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, if it's not subtitled yet, it will be subtitled. So the answer is yes.
And Zunji asks, what are your thoughts on the movie Tangled?
Hey man, how you doing, Zunji?
I saw it for the first time this week and was really surprised at how good it was.
Oh yeah, it's great. I know the directors very well. Byron Howard was technically he was my assistant on Mulan, but he could animate circles around me. I didn't teach him anything. He's such an incredible artist, and we got to know each other very well. And then Nathan Greno, the other director, was one of our story artists on Brother Bear. And he and I have known each other for 25 or 30 years. And they're just great guys and really smart story guys. And that's why I'm, you know, that movie, along with a great story team and great artistic staff, that film really shined because of them.
What are your thoughts this is from Cora Dawson. What are your thoughts on how to make storytelling the most impactful it can be?
I think there's so many elements that go into storytelling that make it impactful. Obviously, emotion and originality are going to be top of the list, but then there's also pacing. How do you tell that story? You know, I can sit down and tell you a story and have you completely bored out of your mind, or I can tell it in a different way and have you riveted. So it really depends on how you structure that story. Having irony, having great themes to contain what you're talking about, and keep the story on track. Those are important. There's a lot of different things that go into great storytelling, and I can't answer it all in a simple answer. It doesn't. I can't do it.
I
But it's, you know, my one of my bosses I used to work for, she used to say, you know, a great story artist or a great director can tell you about what they did over the weekend and have you riveted. And she was right. I mean, some of the best storytellers in the studio, we'd get together on Monday and you'd be laughing, crying, whatever. You know, they just have this ability to take you on this emotional journey through their storytelling. And that's what a good director, storyteller does. I don't know if I went off track of the question, but there you go.
And Jade Price asks, would you do an African wildlife reference pack from your trips with others you might have encountered, like buffaloes, giraffes, zebra, and other animals?
Yes, we've already done a big cats course, or a pack. And we are hoping to get out this October to Kenya again.
Oh, was it October? I thought it was August.
Or no, it's not October, it's not August, it's September.
Oh, September?
Yeah, September. We're hoping to get out there in September and get some more shots, and we'll see what happens.
That would be fun.
It would. It would be very fun.
But in the meantime, as Des, we do have the big cats. What was it? Big cats of Africa?
I think no, because we have cougars in there too, don't we? Or don't we?
Or is it just,
It's just
cats.
Just cats, yeah, big cats.
African cats.
African big cats, yeah.
Hey Eric, big fan of yours from Russia. I'm an aspiring artist and I've made solid progress on my skill and getting a decent level of confidence, yet I find it difficult to work in a consistent routine. Any advice? You know,
consistent routine is just discipline. So you have to set up a schedule, and this is something that I've always struggled with it. I don't struggle with it now as a you know, a more mature artist, but for instance, when I started at Disney, before I started at Disney, I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to be a wildlife painter. So after I got my job at Disney, I still wanted to be a painter. I wanted to show in galleries and all of that. So I would go to work at Disney. I had my day job, and I would do my 8-10 hours, whatever it might be, that, you know, whatever project I was working on. Then I would come home. I'd get home around 7 o'clock, and I would play with Dustin and his sister Austin, and we'd have our playtime together, and then we'd have dinner, and then I'd put the kids to bed at about 8 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock I would sit down and get at my easel, and I would paint until I went to bed. And usually that was until about midnight, sometimes 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'd only get about 3 or 4 hours of oil painting in, but it was enough that I could get a painting done about every couple of weeks. And I just did this every day. I treated it like a job. So on the weekends, I took the weekends off, spent that with my family, and I just forced myself to do it. And it enabled me to get into galleries and you know, fulfill that drive that I wanted to be, you know, do as a painter. So it's really just discipline, forcing yourself, finding that schedule that you can keep and sticking to it.
And Cora Dawson asks, how are the books coming along?
What books? Well, tell you what, we are making huge headway. We're almost ready to
get our draft copy.
Yeah, get our draft copy of the coffee table book. So we are very close to having them finished.
For print.
Yep. Very excited. How many pieces of art do we have in there? About? Do you remember?
About 200.
200, yeah.
It's over 200 pages, so.
We've got, and it's so funny, we've got so much more artwork left over for another volume.
I'm sure you got enough for like 10 volumes.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. And Rafael Polo Abrigo asks, "Hello from Chile.
Hey,
Have you ever animated fight sequences? And if so, how do you have any tips?"
I haven't really animated a lot of fight sequences. There's some stuff that we did in Mulan where the gang of three are fighting, and it's really just taking the dominant character at whatever. You got to choreograph it first of all. You really got to thumbnail it out. And if the fight is going back and forth, then you just start with that dominant character and go until the other character becomes dominant, and you just jump back and forth. It's a very, very difficult thing to do.
And Sierra Samba asks, "Hello.
Hello.
What is the perfect pet for Mr. Aaron?"
Perfect pet?
Perfect pet.
Dog.
Achilles.
Yeah. He's my son.
You're like saying that because Achilles is in the room.
The other day, I was walking out of the bedroom, and I said, "I love you," and Vedanta goes, "Oh, I love you too." Oh, you were talking to the dog. I was.
From Sophia Price. "Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How long have you been using a pen display tablet like the one you have now? And how do you find it compared to other drawing methods, digital or otherwise?"
I've been doing this since 2005. So what's that? 11? No. 2005. So that's 15, 16, whatever. And 16 years, right? Why can't I do math in my head today? Oh, it's because I'm drawing. There you go. I love working on a Cintiq. I've never worked on anything else, first of all. I started on a Cintiq and never found a need to go anywhere else. I just love their products. I love Wacom. I love everything they produce. And that's what I use. There are cheaper pen displays out there. I've never used them. I feel like this is the best, and it's always worked for me. So I'm not one to kind of jump around and experiment and try this and try that. Once I find something that works for me, I just stick with it, and that's what I stick with forever. And that's what it's been like I've been with the Cintiq. And one of the reasons I love it so much is because it's so close to just drawing traditionally. So I can go from working on my Cintiq digitally and jump over and draw and paint on paper or canvas, and it doesn't feel any different to me.
Kirk Michael says, "Hey, Aaron.
Hey, man.
What's your thoughts on the news about polar bears breeding with brown bears? It's in the news, honest."
Yeah, it's actually, I saw it. I read about it. I think it's inevitable. It's interesting because they just split off from one another. I think they thought, well, it's a big difference between like 200 and 800,000 years ago is when they split off, less than 1 million years ago. If I'm remembering right, I could be wrong, that they split off from each other in the first place. And it's interesting to me that they're coming back together again. I don't like the reasons why they're coming back together, but I find it fascinating.
Fascinating. And Corey Phoenix asks, "Do you have any tips on studying animal anatomy for drawing? I've watched and own some of your animal drawing courses and love them, but I still struggle with how to study the anatomy."
You know, I was a pretty kooky kid. I really was fascinated by anatomy and animals, and I collected bones. I picked up roadkill. I did all kinds of really gross stuff, if you know what the general public would think of as gross. But those are things that really taught me a lot. And so having just a driving need to learn these things really helps. And as far as where do you learn it, I mean, there's so much information nowadays through the internet, being able to order, you know, skulls and bones and, you know, all the stuff that we have, all artificial casts, but they're perfect. And, you know, I use those in my courses. And so you learn from that. You learn from, you know, direct observation of animals in the wild and all of that stuff. So there's hundreds of different resources for you to learn anatomy nowadays. For me, it was looking, like I said, looking at bones and drawing.
Do you ever paint in acrylic?
Yes. Matter of fact, I'm going to be doing an acrylic course.
Any plans to do a course on fish or jellyfish?
We're going to do a full course only on the box jellyfish. No, yes, we definitely will do something with fish in the future. We're just not up there yet.
Get lots of course questions also. Love your watercolor course class. Do you have any plans on doing a gouache one?
Yes, actually, I'm going to be doing another watercolor. I'm going to be doing a landscape watercolor course, and you know, plein air painting. And yes, we will also be doing gouache. I might actually combine the gouache with watercolor, combine them together, because they are so similar. And gouache is really just an opaque watercolor.
John Gomez says, "Yo, greetings from Asia.
Yo.
Are you guys vaccinated yet?"
Yeah, I got my first shot of the Moderna. Is that the one I got? Can't remember.
I got my first shot the other day as well.
Yeah, I got to go in for my second shot on the 26th.
Yeah. I actually got not only my vaccination, but I also got my eyes checked out finally.
And which doesn't seem like a big deal to most people out there, but you got to understand, Dustin has had to wear glasses since what, 6th grade or 7th grade?
Yeah, since I think since 8th grade actually.
And Dustin has not been to the eye doctor since high school.
Since high school, yeah. Since we moved out of California. So I haven't had my eyes checked. I haven't gotten new glasses in 15 plus years.
It's just crazy.
And like it's to the point where one of my arm supports late last month fell off and I lost it.
Let me see. Come here. Let me show him. Do you have a camera on you over there?
Yeah, I'll show it.
To have Peter Hahn as a guest teacher.
Can't quite see see how it's missing right there?
It's so funny they mentioned Peter Hahn.
Yeah. Take care of your eyes.
Yes.
Don't do what I did.
Yes, I definitely want to do that. Matter of fact, Nick, Dustin, and I on May 13th. Is that right? Is that when we're going? May 13th. May 13th, we are headed to Montana.
I cannot wait.
We're going to be watching the grizzly bears come out of hibernation and all kinds of stuff. And Peter's meeting us there along with Manny Roscoe. And we're going to have a good time.
And my glasses, both my glasses and my sunglasses are going to arrive just before that. So it's going to be perfect timing.
When are you getting your glasses?
Between the 8th, anywhere between the 8th and the 12th.
Of May?
Show up on the 14th.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick question. What were your thoughts behind your 2 most recent paintings you made with the butterflies? Does that have specific meaning, or did you just feel like drawing butterflies?
No, they not necessarily meaning, but it definitely was themed. I'm just interested. I find it interesting that you can have such unrelated animals have such similar markings. I just find that fascinating. So I sat down and I thought, wow, there's these butterflies that are all covered in spots, and cheetahs are covered in spots. Let's do a painting and put them together. And I wanted to see if there was an insect from the same region that cheetahs live in the Masai Mara or in Africa somewhere, plains. And sure enough, there was. It was called a leopard moth and spotted. And so I thought, oh, that's cool. And so then I did the same thing with the tiger. And it's interesting to me that a tiger is orange, black, and white. And that is such a universal combination of colors for insects and reptiles, warning predators that they are poisonous. So monarch butterflies here in the United States have that same orange, black, and white. And but I know monarch butterflies are only North American. So then I thought, well, I wonder if there's something in India that's poisonous and has the same coloration as a butterfly or as a tiger. And sure enough, there's a butterfly in India called a tiger butterfly, and it's got the same coloration. I just thought that was fascinating. So that's how I came up with the tiger and tiger butterfly painting. And so I love that series, and I love doing things like that. I also like playing sizes against each other. So I just recently did this painting called Releasing the Soul, or I can't remember how I phrased it, but it's elephant skull, and other elephants are around it, mourning it or sending it off, setting free the soul, and I use butterflies to kind of represent the soul. Let me see if I can find that. It was what was that? Da, 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 da. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, there's the tigers. Set my soul free. There it is. Because this one, and you may have seen it. Oh, that's not it. I'm losing them.
What do you think of watercolor graphite?
I've never used it. I think it's cool if it works. I've never used it.
Hi, Aaron, Dustin, and Nick.
Hello.
I'm animating remotely, and I put your stream in the background while animating in Maya. You are a great company.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
Any plan on a new workshop like the one you did on October 10th with the wildlife gesture drawing?
Yeah, we plan on doing quite a few workshops. We just haven't. We're being held back by COVID, so we're going to be doing quite a few. There we go. Set my soul free. Here's at least the part of the image. We're going to be doing a lot of that stuff, but we just got to wait for all the the bans to be lifted, the restrictions to be lifted. So this is another one that I did that I really had a fun time doing, and I wanted to have some emotion in it. I can't find the original file though. I don't know where I put that. There we go. Okay, so let's get back to this. So I've got this color of the cat. I want to create a, actually I'm just going to go ahead and lock it. So I'm alpha locking it, meaning I can only paint within the areas that the pixel of the color that's there on now. It won't allow me to paint outside of that, which allows me to kind of get a little more free with it. I can have some fun with some of this color. Whoa, not that much fun.
Shirley Guerra asks, will there be a zebra and zebra butterfly image?
Well, maybe. I might do that because of the similar names. I've been trying to keep the animals from the same region. And I don't think there's a zebra butterfly in Africa. I could be wrong. I know we have zebra butterflies here in Florida. And zebra butterflies are funny. They're like a lot of other butterflies, like monarchs and things like that. They roost together in trees. And so when I was a kid, I lived way out in the Everglades, and I would go out, and there was this one little tree, this tiny little tree among all these big ones, that had, every night it was covered with zebra butterflies. It was really neat. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just changing up the color, getting variations in the color of the cat here.
Yeah, this is funny, somebody mentioned this, and this is something that I've always found bizarre. Caterpillars literally liquefy in the cocoon before turning into a butterfly.
They do.
Which is weird. Scientists have no explanation for that. If you open up a cocoon, there's nothing there that should make a butterfly, or anything that's left from a caterpillar.
It's so bizarre.
And then the question is does the
metamorphosis.
butterfly retain any of the memories of the caterpillar? Is it a separate living thing? Is it the same living thing? It raises so many weird questions.
It does, right? That's cool. That's cool.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, they do. They literally liquefy.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Next time, can you draw a German Shepherd, please?
No. Next question. Of course. Actually, we should do more dogs. I love doing those. Remember, we have that print called The Gang, and I love doing that print. It was a lot of fun.
Twitch comment. I just wanted to thank you for the great sale you put on. I'm working on the character design course now. I wanted that one for so long. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. That makes me happy. It was all Nick's idea.
It's his fault. Angelina
Jolie?
Angelina Kisilowski asks, do you know if there's a Facebook group for the students taking your classes to share their whips? I'd love to join something like that.
There's not yet. We're going to be setting one up. Of course, we've been saying that for 4 years. So.
Yeah. Same thing with Discord.
We definitely are going to try.
And Shelly Guerra asks, mermaid? Who else is planning on drawing at least a mermaid per week in May?
Well, we usually participate. I don't know if I'm going to do that many, but we definitely participate.
It's actually every day.
Yeah.
It's like Inktober. That's started by Tom Bancroft.
Yes, it is. Man, is it getting warm in here to you?
It's warming up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a tad. I think it's just all of our body heats.
Computer
too.
Computer?
Computer.
Well, I'm going to open the door.
John Gomez asks, do you have a course that talks about colors?
Yes, we have a course from Ronnie Williford on color theory.
Color theory. And Tasia Valiant asks, what tablet do you recommend buying for a beginner? Or
Actually,
drawing
taking
device like you're using?
$5 right now. It's normally $50.
Oh, well, there you go.
Say what?
Ronnie's course, Taking Control of Color, is only $5 right now because we dropped it way down. It's normally $50. So if you want a good course on color, get that from Ronnie. It's only $5. Ronnie is such he's so smart in his approach to color. I think you'll find it pretty fascinating.
Yeah, Tasia Valiant is asking, what tablet do you recommend buying for a beginner or of drawing devices like you're using?
Well, it depends on what you're going to do. Is it just a hobby? And you're not going to do it very often, then I would say maybe an iPad or something like that. But if it's if you're a beginner but you plan on sticking with it, then get a Cintiq.
I mean, depending on what computer you have or what you want to use, then yeah, iPad is one if you want to learn to draw on the go. But if you already have a studio and you have a computer, then the Wacom One is a good starting choice because it's cheap and affordable, and it's very portable too. Cheap, affordable, and portable. I made that rhyme.
Which actually goes with the question that I got. Do you think that, or when you go out in the field, do you bring digital drawing tools or no?
No, never. I find only because, not because I'm against using digital tools in the field, but there's nothing out there, including iPad, that's bright enough. You know, when you're sitting in your studio, it's one thing, you can get enough light, but I just haven't been able to find anything bright enough.
Yeah, screens tend to be a little too dim, especially in direct sunlight, and also battery life. When you're drawing traditionally, you don't need to worry about battery life.
Although the batteries on the new iPads last for like 5 days.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Colby Evans asks, y'all move? Sorry if this was already addressed. I just got here.
Yep, we moved. It's been in the works. Nick and I, over the last 7 years, have been working about 160 miles apart. So we've been talking about moving closer together, and so we both decided to pull the trigger, and we moved within, 5 miles of each other, 6 miles of each other?
What's the number one thing to look for when drawing expressions of your own dog?
For me, it's finding that soul, and so you want to be aware of the anatomy and how that anatomy is going to change if you're going to push the expressions to be more anthropomorphic. But for me, it's finding that personality in your dog and find those expressions in that personality.
Elise says, thank you for the reference photo packs. I believe your son took those. I just bought all 3 and I've been really impressed with the quality.
Yeah, well, Dustin's done 2 of them and I did 1 of them.
Yeah, I did the birds and Florida wildlife. I think Florida swamp life, or I can't remember the exact title. But yeah, Dad's is the big cats. But thank you. Sarah Brabin says, "Ooh, what size is that pad you're working on?"
What size is what?
The Cintiq you're working on.
Oh, this is a 32. Go to the wide shot, Dustin.
Yep. Boom. A 32. It's a really big screen.
So I'm still painting local color. I'm going to go to the snow now.
Erica Bay says, I love the color theory course by Ronnie.
Hey, Erica Bay. Yeah, it's pretty darn good, isn't it?
And Shirley Guerrero says, I love my Wacom One. Yeah, the Wacom One is a really good starter.
So I'm just going to let this be kind of a sketch. We're going to, how far into it are we? We're 2 hours in, or 1 hour in.
And Thomas Jason Roberts asks, Aaron.
Hey, what?
Do you use Procreate? If so, how often?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've done a course on Procreate, which is, how much is Procreate right now?
I think it's $10 right now.
I did a course on how to paint in Procreate. But I don't use it very often. I don't. I used to use it a lot when I first started using it.
You honestly just haven't been traveling, so you haven't been using your iPad.
Exactly. I haven't been traveling, so I haven't been using my iPad.
Jade Price asks, have you ever sold your animal artwork for animal conservation, or do you do that already?
Yes, and we do that. We've done big sales for lion conservation. We've done the fire relief in Australia when that was happening. We've done a lot of different sales.
And Christian KM asks, do you ever get frustrated by the disrespect?
By Dustin? Sure.
All the time. The disrespect digital art gets from people who don't understand it, like the misperception that it's cheating or that it's worthless because there's no original.
No, I mean, I don't. People that say that just don't understand it. That's all. So I mean, you can't get mad at somebody for not understanding it. I do think there's something to, though. You know, I love to have something held in my hand. I think this is just as viable an art form as anything else, but it's fleeting. You know, it's crazy because, yeah, you don't get to have an original piece in your hand other than a print. But yeah, it's no different than, to me, digital art is no different than, you know, playing music on a synthesizer. That's electronic. You know, you can play violins, you can play drums, you can play trumpet, you can play all of that on your synthesizer, but you still need to understand music, understand composition in order to play all that. It's the same thing with painting digital, drawing and painting digitally. There's so many things that I can do that are that mimic other forms of painting, but I need to understand how to paint in order to do it, right? So it's just people that don't understand it.
You just don't get it.
That was creepy, Dustin.
Where can I buy Taking Control of Color? I just can't find the button. When I search it on your page, I get 8 parts of the course, but it says that I have to purchase it, but I can't find where.
I just put the link in the comments.
Oh, did you? Does your Wacom seem dull and a bit off-white? Struggling to get my screen to look right compared to my laptop.
No. This one, you might have a faulty screen or something. This one's perfect.
And that was from Becky Lockley. Forgot to say what that was.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, by the way, remembering to say their names. I'm just keeping this really loose. Now, as far as background goes, I want to keep the background simple, but I don't know if I want to go dark, if I want to go light. Right now, what I've got as a background is all trees in the background there, which I want to keep it a simple. I want to do the cat as a simple silhouette. So what I might do is go light in the background. The cat will be dark over light, almost like a blue-gray winter sky. A blue-gray winter sky.
Kobe Evans asks, "Hey, will y'all make a course on backgrounds?"
On what?
On backgrounds. A course on backgrounds.
Yes, or layout. Yes, we have a good friend, Armand Serrano, that's going to be helping us out with that. It's actually, which is the course he's doing with us to start with, Armand? Was it? I can't remember what the first one was going to be.
Can't remember right this second.
Yeah.
Because you know, because he hasn't sent us the outline yet.
Oh, that's right. So if you guys know Armand, you know you're in for some really good teaching.
Jason Confessor asks, are you happy teaching now, or do you miss the grind doing animated features?
I don't miss the grind at all. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. I was talking about this the other day. I love what I'm doing now. Do I miss working on big animated projects? Sometimes I do, but I really don't miss the stress of you know, dealing with executives and everything that went with it. And so what we're doing instead are creating our own small short projects, which I love even more because, you know, I can sink my teeth into, let's say, a 2 or 3 minute piece and satisfy that need to get something animated out the door and then move on to something else. So I love working on the short subject stuff that we're doing now, like Snow Bear. Now Snow Bear is going to be 8 minutes, and but it's going to be cool, man.
Shelly asks, your cougar, is it male or female, and are they difficult to tell as such as leopards?
No, this one's male, and leopards aren't difficult to tell at all. There's a huge size difference between male and female leopards.
And are males usually the larger ones?
Yes.
Now, what's the name of that bird that we saw?
And this is a male, by the way.
What was the name of that bird species that we saw at that habitat where the male was like twice as small as
yeah,
the
very
female?
small. They're dimorphic.
Yeah.
It's a falcon. Yeah, a lot of times the female falcons are a lot bigger than the males.
Alex on YouTube asks, I've had the Wacom 22 for a while, and I never considered the spring-loaded tip that comes as an extra with the pen. Is that just for personal preference, or is it used for a specific reason?
You know, I've tried using that. I have no idea what it's used for. I can't get it. I don't know. I'm a terrible one to ask because I find it useless. You ask somebody from Wacom. I don't.
Now with the 22, I don't know if it's the new 22 or the old 22.
Yeah.
But you did like to use the felt tips.
I love the felt tip ones, but right now I use just the regular black plastic tips for.
Less of an issue on this, right? Because of the tooth.
Yeah, there's actually a little bit of tooth on the glass.
Which I think the new 22 also has.
Oh, that's
so if
good.
you've got the older 22, you would recommend the felt, but if it's the new 22.
Right, exactly. Precisely.
If you had an executive strongly disagreed about the creative direction of the project, how did you handle that? Did it make a difference if you thought highly of their creative instincts or not? This is from Zamji.
Oh, Zamji, hey man. It actually very rarely happened. The executives I was lucky enough to work with, whether it's John Lasseter or Tom Schumacher, more often than not, we agreed on what we needed to do, and we would, a lot of times we were sitting in the room brainstorming together. You know, John Lasseter was always very much about everyone getting in there and rolling up their sleeves, and we solve it together as a group. I've had some executives that were horrible, that, you know, they were dictators basically, and if you didn't do what they wanted, they would find ways to get rid of you or whatever, and so those are the ones you got to be really careful with.
I don't like.
Fortunately enough, there was only one guy that I dealt with like that, and he didn't survive. He actually ended up getting fired because his bosses didn't like the way he handled stuff. So he ended up getting sent away. So I haven't really had bad issues with executives before, and in the times that I have disagreed with them, they're the boss, you know, and you move on. I'm gonna have to come up with a lichen brush, I think. There's all these different lichens on the. Come up with some different brushes today.
Christian KM asks, do you think artistic ability has a genetic component? Take, for example, the fact that you and your brother are both professional artists, as are Tom Bancroft and his brother.
I do think there's genetic elements to it, in the way that the brain is able to perceive space and translate that down into your arm. But I also think it's more, just as much a learned thing as well. So I think, you know, anybody can learn to be an artist. I firmly believe that. Practice trumps genetics every time. Or talent, if you want to call it that. Let's see here. Let's try the old Aaron Blaise shadow.
Eric on Twitch says, I really love Rescuers Down Under and think it's underrated. It stands out visually to me. Was there a noticeably different approach to it that would account for this feeling?
I don't know. I mean, there was every movie we approached was different than the last, so
that's speaking specifically about the character design. I kind of skipped over.
Yeah, I mean the process of designing those characters was no different than any other film that we worked on before that or after it. I think it's a different set of artists is part of it, and with that you get different results. So that could have been a big part of it. But yeah, I mean, it's really it's no different. The process was the same. I love that film as well. That was my first feature I ever worked on, and I really enjoyed doing it. Okay, so.
Actually, I have a confession. I never saw that movie until about a year ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one I just never.
Yeah.
Seen.
Which one?
Rescuers Down Under.
Oh.
I mean, I was aware of it, but it just wasn't really
on the radar.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't have been you would have been kind of too cool to go see that at that time. No, I mean, you know, because you were probably 13 or 14 at the time. No, not even.
I was 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah, when it came out. So no, I would have been right in the pocket to see it. I just
I
don't know.
Never did.
Yeah.
Jason Confessor asks, what's more satisfying for you, designing a character or animating the character?
Well, both. It's such different things. I love both. There's nothing cooler than coming up with that design and then animating it. That's the other thing, you know. It's an awesome feeling. So I'm gonna because I want this really bright background, I'm gonna try putting this all in shadow, like I always do. I know, but I want to try this.
John Gomez asks, would you consider yourself a prodigy, or did you have to work hard to get good?
I've had to work hard to get every little bit I've done. So would I Did I draw better than other kids in my class? Yeah, but it was because I loved to draw. You know, there's a lot of kids that played baseball better than me because that's what they did. They played baseball. And I just loved to draw all the time. And, you know, I used to get in trouble and sent to my room as punishment. I used to love getting sent to my room because then I could draw without my mother bugging me.
Shanna Hayward asks, do you do more digital than traditional, and what do you prefer, or do you have no preference?
I probably do more digital than traditional only because I can just sit down and start working right away. I love to draw though, so I'll draw in my sketchbooks a lot. But I've got a lot of paintings laying around the house. I've got several pinned up right here on the boards. And so, yeah, I mean, I do both quite a bit. But yeah, if it comes down to it, yeah, I do more digital than anything.
What were your worst subjects in school?
My worst subjects in school were probably chemistry. I hated chemistry. Oh my God, I hated chemistry. And I wasn't great at English. You know, it's funny because I ended up in an advanced placement English class because at one time I did like English, and then I slept all the way through it and got back down to put into another English class for the not so bright kids.
Any tips for when it comes to imagination? I have more of an internal monologue rather than a visual mind, and I find it hard to visualize most art or characters in my head.
Say that one more time.
Any tips for when it comes to imagination? I have more of an internal monologue rather than a visual mind, and find it hard to visualize art or characters in my head.
That's weird. I don't know how to answer that. For me, you know, as far as creating characters, it's important to write them, to know them as characters before you start visualizing them anyway. Am I answering the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it's I would say write your character. Write them. You know, so much of character design is understanding who these characters are and how they fit into the story that's being told, right? And so writing the character is one of the most important things you can do, or have or sit with the author or the director or the screenwriter or whoever. You know, when I was every character that I was designing for Disney, I'd have the script. You know, I'd read the script to understand how that character fit in the movie, who that character was. A lot of times I'd talk to the writer or the director and say, you know, what's the backstory on this character? Or where do they come from? You know, what do they love? What do they hate? And that's, you know, that's where I get a lot of inspiration there.
That's interesting, because I've actually heard some authors say before that they don't really have visual pictures of their characters in their mind, which seems so alien to me.
Yeah, it does to me too.
Yeah.
Especially a writer, because they're writing descriptive, visual things.
Yeah. I always find that weird too. And in fairness, this is someone that called themselves a writer. I never read their writing, so it could be terrible.
It could be bull.
No offense to writers, but there seem to be a lot of people that I've run into that are always writing on a book, but you never see them writing and you never see the book.
They're writing their novella.
Yeah.
I'm writing my next novel. Yeah.
That's the old Family Pet bit. Brian is always working on his novel.
Yeah, what was it called again?
Faster Than the Speed of Love.
Oh, that's right.
Sydney Leeson asks, I know it's a complicated subject, but do you have any tips for picking the color of your shadows in a composition?
Yeah, you like what I'm doing right now, because it's dominantly snow. I picked a cool gray. I'm going to be going in and painting over the top and adding color, but and you'll notice that because I picked the cool, it's going over the warm that of the local color and really going gray on the cat. So I'm going to have to really kind of warm that up a little bit, just because it should be a little warmer than what it is. But that's the way I approach it, and then I go in and paint over the top. There we go. Casting a shadow.
Mariana Garcia says, I'm sorry in advance for this silly question, but I've been watching your tutorials, and however, I can't go past the local color. The shading always seems off. Do you have any advice or any course recommendations to properly render an illustration? I think lighting could be the problem.
Well, that is the problem. That's absolutely the problem. And I just happen to have a course on lighting, which is how much?
$10.
$10.
Lowest price ever.
Lowest price ever. And I go really thoroughly into what I think about when I'm doing my lighting. I know it sounds like we're hawking used cars here, but I really do think it's a good price, and there's tons of information in there. So I really recommend grabbing it. It has everything I know about lighting, and then some. Now I'm working digitally, but the information in there is still relevant for traditional.
Sylvie Ann Hughes asks, do you have any tips on how to get noticed in the industry for your art? I've been having trouble finding a marketable audience.
Well, it's so different now than it was when I started in the industry. Obviously, there was no social media, there was no YouTube, there was no Instagram or anything like that. So much of it now is social media, and that's how you get found. And so you got to get a social media account, whether it's YouTube or not YouTube, but Instagram, and post to it regularly.
I kind of want to parse that question up into two pieces, though, because how to find a marketable audience and how to get noticed in the industry are two separate thoughts altogether.
You're right.
There's a lot of people in the industry that have very small social media followings.
Right.
They're great artists and they work all the time.
Right. I'm going off
talking about being no. Your answer's fine. I'm just talking to them.
Right.
If they're talking about being a popular social media presence, well, that doesn't even necessarily pay the bills.
Right. Well, I think her question was, how do I get noticed in the industry? And I'm saying so much of the industry is social media aware.
Well, no, they said the part about they said both. So I'm just trying to say that the one doesn't necessarily having a popular audience doesn't necessarily have anything to do with whether you'll get
true
industry work or not.
Speaking the truth, babe. So what I'm doing now is I'm working opaques over the shadows now.
They're competing ye.
What's that?
It's looking pretty good.
Keeping it really loose. Keep it tight. Now there is a texture to his fur that I want to try to get, see if I can make a brush to do it. I'm just going to try it. Shall we? Let's make a brush. Let's save this first of all.
Do you think people with ADHD could be a tattoo artist? I've always been told we couldn't do it because we can't take our time, but I want to prove them wrong, but wanted to know what you think.
Why do you want to know what I think? Doesn't matter what I think. Do it. You obviously want to do it, so do it.
Do it.
I think anybody can do anything they want to do. So
Plus, I think that's a misunderstanding of ADHD. That doesn't mean that you can't. People with ADHD can take their time on one thing sometimes extremely well. It's just a matter of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to open a, no, I'm not. I'm going to start a new.
Hey,
There you
Aaron,
go,
how
5
are
inches.
solvents used in oil paintings? I don't remember very well how it's done.
Well, solvents are, basically you end up painting in oil like you would a watercolor. You can use solvents to make colors bleed, and more often than not, when you're using solvents, you're painting thinly. You're not going really heavy with your oil paint. And a lot of times that type of painting is used for the underpainting. And then you build up the thickness of your painting over the top of that. If you look at my oil painting course, I use a lot of solvents in doing the underpainting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm trying to come up with this fur texture. Let's see if I can do it here.
Aside of Photoshop, what other drawing programs do you recommend? From Rigo,
Procreate is great for iPad.
What is it again?
Procreate. Corel Painter. See, I use a handful, and then I'm the wrong guy to ask because there's so many. Doggone it, I did it on the wrong layer. There's so many great programs out there nowadays that I just don't use.
For the latecomers, what are your thoughts about NFTs?
Yeah, someone asked about that earlier. We were gonna kind of try the NFT market about a month or two ago when it was really big in the news. But then we were made aware very quickly about the environmental impact that NFTs have, and so we decided to hold off and not do NFTs until something better can be figured out in regards to the environmental impact.
What are you doing now, by the way?
I'm creating a brush, and so I'm trying to create this kind of tufted fur texture. If you look at, let me see here, and it might not work, but I want to see if I can make it work. If you look at the fur, there's this really interesting texture all through here, like in the side, right there, all in here, and to some degree in here, but I'm going to paint those darks in there. And so I just want to see if I can create that texture with a brush. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating a brush that kind of has those textures. So with that in mind, I've got the texture there. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go edit, define brush preset. I'm going to go okay. Turn this off, turn this back on. So now I've got a brush, but watch what it does. It doesn't do anything I want it to do. I have to make it do what I want it to do. So now I'm going to come up to my brush presets over here. I'm going to try a couple of different things. First, I'm going to try the spacing. I'm going to turn the spacing around. And I'm also going to probably turn it this way, about like this. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into shape dynamics. First thing, I want it to follow the direction of my brush. So now I've got something that goes like this. Almost looks like bones, doesn't it? So I've got that now, but I want more variety than that. So I'm going to flip the X. I'm going to flip the Y axis. And I'm also going to do a size jitter. That's going to make them somewhat smaller, somewhat bigger. I'm going to go back to brush tip shape, maybe space them a little bit further apart. So now it starts to become a little more random. See, and if I build it up, it creates this interesting pattern. I want to go back to shape dynamics. I'm going to pull back on the size jitter. It's a little too much difference between the big and the small. So I like this pattern that it's creating. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into scattering. Let me just try that. I want to see if we get anything there. If I scatter them a little bit and then increase the count. Increase the count again. And scatter them even more. No, I'm going to bring the count back. Now what I'm getting, now the scattering is a little bit much. I'm going to pull back on that. I'm going to turn the scattering off. Go back to brush tip shape. Let's pull those together a little closer. There we go. So let's try that now. I'm going to go back to my, I save that. I'm going to save this brush. Now I'm coming back to our painting, which is right here. And I'm going to add a little bit of dark. I'm going to put a layer on top first. I'm going to keep that layer. I'm going to go a little bit dark with it. I'm going to go a little warmer, a little bit darker, like in there. I'm going to keep this brush, go a little smaller. So rather than doing that with that brush, I'm going to come back with this brush. Hi. And I'm just going to darken this cat here, some of this color. So I got an idea for something here.
Dustin, are you the one putting the courses up in the chat? You're so fast. I wish. No, that's Nick doing all that.
That'd be Nick Birch.
I have a question, if you wouldn't mind. How did you learn animation? Did you go to college or university? I'm asking because I'm not sure how to get into it myself.
No, I went to college to become an illustrator. But while I was at college, I decided to get an internship with Disney. And because I could draw well, Disney took me in and they taught me animation. I was taught animation initially by Glenn Keane, who's a wonderful animator. And so now that I've darkened this, real quick, Dustin, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm going to go back and grab our brush again that we just created, and now I'm going to make it lighter. I'm going to go lighter on some of these right here, go a little bigger, and just, it creates this interesting little pattern now. Kind of like this. It's creating this tufted fur pattern.
I got two questions that are on similar subjects. I'm just going to merge them into one.
Okay.
From Sylvian Hughes and Michelle McAdams. They're asking, pardon my ignorance, but what is an NFT, and what is the environmental impact of NFTs?
Nick, take it away.
An NFT is a non-fungible token, which basically is a fancy word for saying it's like a unique serial number for a file. That means, and there's some debate about this, but it's basically like making a JPEG or a file a Bitcoin, essentially. It essentially makes it a one-of-a-kind copy of that file. So you could have a lot of specific JPEGs, but there's only one true JPEG.
Original, yeah.
For lack of a better way to say it. So therefore, because only one person can ever have that copy of that file, it makes it unique, and depending on to the collector or whomever, therefore it has value because it's finite, is the idea.
You can have a lot of image, you can have like say this image I'm creating right now. We can copy this image exactly the same infinitely because it's digital information. We can create billions of the same image, but we can make a non-fungible token from one of them, and that would make that the original. And that's where the value comes in, or supposedly. I think I'm explaining that right. But.
Yeah, I mean that's the gist of it. There's some debate, as to whether or not, does the debate about it is the experience for someone doesn't change whether they see the original or the copy. That's
exactly.
It's not like a physical piece of art where not only, you can high-res scan the Mona Lisa, but it's not the same as seeing the physical. The experience is different.
Right.
Whereas with an NFT, the experience is the same. So that's the whole
debate, right?
Debate. But the art market has spoken and it has value. So therefore,
it's interesting. It is.
Yeah.
So I'm digging this brush and the texture that it's giving me. It's really giving me a very similar texture to what's on in the image. I love coming up, having a problem to solve visually and being able to solve it. It's a lot of fun. So now what I'm going to do is you can see all this texture I've created in the fur. Now I go in and define some of those some of the valleys in between, the shadows basically, and I'll make that multiply, and I'm going to come in here and I'll go in with a different brush. Say my pastel C brush, see? And I can come in here and actually I'm going to do it with the other brush. And just define some of these areas in between a little bit more.
Jade Price asks, hi Aaron, do you collect references for lighting, or is all your cool lighting effects from imagination or experience, or both?
It's both. I mean, I do collect reference in the sense that I photograph all the time. But usually when I'm doing my lighting, let's say like for this cat today, this is all made up lighting. The lighting that's in the original and the reference that I'm using, that's all flat lighting. There is no light and shadow. It's all flat light. So I'm creating the light and shadow out of my head, but I'm doing that based on experience and knowing how light works on form.
Sophia Price asks, which digital drawings do you try to avoid using Control-Z undo where possible and let the drawings evolve naturally?
Rephrase that. I don't understand how you're...
I think I might have misspoke
okay.
it. With digital drawing, do you try to avoid using Control-Z undo where possible and let the drawings evolve naturally?
No. I mean, if I make a mistake, to me, Control-Z is an eraser, right? I mean, I don't not erase when I'm drawing on a piece of paper just because I want it to evolve naturally. I find that I don't use Control Z as much as I used to. But no, I'm not afraid to delete that and get something a little better. Just, you know, it's what we do as artists.
Shelly Guerra asks, Aaron and Dustin, when are you going again to Africa, and what would be the personal best art and photo reference capture?
You didn't tell Dustin he's not going yet, did you?
No, I didn't tell him. So I got shoot.
It's okay. I'll just sit in the corner. Just.
I don't know. I mean, I've had one of the coolest experiences I ever had. Well, first of all, just being out there is an amazing experience. I can't explain the feeling you get in Africa. It's just it's its own thing. But I mean, you just never know what you're going to see. One of the coolest experiences I had was in Alaska, where I came across, it was, you know, the group that I was with, and we came across wolves that had taken down a moose, and they were fighting these bears, and it was just crazy. And the bears had come in and taken possession of the kill, and it was just a really big dramatic thing that we were watching. And so you just never know what you're going to see out there. So
well,
that was cool.
Yeah, I think you said that the Africa trip is going to be in September. We're trying to be September. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's during your birthday.
Yes, that's gonna be nice. And as far as like the shot that I want to try to get out there, I would love to try to get a cheetah on the hunt, like on the run. Like either a cheetah on the run or a leopard dropping down on his prey from a tree. Like those two things would be really cool to try to get.
Mm.
But either way, I'm going to be getting a lot of photos out there. Or at least I'm hoping to.
So right now I'm just adding in kind of the fur texture, the tufts, the dark shadow areas between the tufts of fur. And the texture brush that I used before this kind of helps break up the fur in that way. Then I can go in with even lighter bits right over the top and just hit them that way.
Cora Dawson asks, how is the photography course coming along, Dustin? It's getting there. Just waiting for another piece of equipment to arrive that will be really beneficial for the course, and getting everything all laid out and planned. And but yeah, I think after the loose fabric course, I think we should be ready to get started on that. So hopefully within the next month or so. Fingers crossed.
Oh, you didn't tell them we're not doing the course yet, did you?
Oh, yes. Man,
Dang it! Oh, what the hell? That's it. I quit. Joni asks, would it be possible to have a live stream with Glenn Keane? That would be great.
You know what? We haven't asked, so we should get out there and ask. I'd love to have him on as a guest.
Yeah, just ask him. Why don't you just ask him?
Well, because we're busy, he's busy, we just haven't gotten around to it.
Sylvia Hughes says, thank you for the explanation. Final question from me. What program are you using here, and what are the pros and cons you have as an individual have found using this?
This is Photoshop that I'm using, and I don't know of any cons. The pros, it's Photoshop to me is just a super versatile drawing program. There's other ones that are just as good. I just have come to love Photoshop because it's what I'm used to, and I stick to what I know.
Hey, Manny's here. Says, hey, Aaron Blaise. Miss
Hey,
you
Manny.
guys. See you soon.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see us soon for sure.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
The only con people can say about Photoshop is the price, right? I mean, the subscription potentially is problematic for some people.
Yeah, but I don't see that. But that's the thing. I think people misunderstand. You know, it's a subscription, but you can get Photoshop with Lightroom for $10 a month or something like that, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's still $120 a year, you know. And
Yeah.
Versus Clip Studio Paint or something that's free, you know.
Well, that's true, but the wonderful thing about Photoshop is that it's always being updated.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying.
You know, so I'd rather pay, you know, which I get. I understand, you know, paying $10 a month for something, but for what you're getting in return, I think it's awesome.
And Gabby asks, is it live? Did I make it?
No. Sorry, Gab.
Sorry, you're watching a recording right now.
Yeah. We knew you were going to ask this in the past.
This is for Gabby Young. We are sorry, but you missed the live stream.
Someone's saying it's $15 a month in Canada, and then someone else is saying it's €30 a month in their country. So I think the pricing varies.
Well, you should complain about that. €30 a month. But is that just Photoshop or is
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't think people realize that there is a just Photoshop.
Because €30 a month is basically $50 a month.
Right, that'd be the full suite.
That's the full suite. See, the full suite of all the Adobe products is $54, $60, or whatever it is now. I don't know what it is nowadays.
It's
$53. But you can get individual licenses like Photoshop for you know, a fraction of that cost.
Uncle Travis says, hey, beautiful family.
Hey, what's going on, eh?
What's going on there, bud? Barnburger says, one day you should animate a short about a guy called Nikio, who once lived in a closet, had a pixel face, and now has a real face and is living in a real house. His boss is quite mean and tells everybody to put back their shopping carts.
People don't realize that I'm your boss. That's the strength.
That's right.
Cora Dawson says, I would take the whole day off of work to see Glenn Key and Aaron Blaise event.
Well, we'll work on that. Nick, make it so.
Besides, everyone knows there's only one boss.
Nick, do the thing.
Springsteen.
That's right.
The boss.
How are people getting on this boss kick? We're partners. We've always told each other we're partners. Partners in life. Partners in business.
Hey, Caroline. Says, hey,
Sweet
guys.
Caroline. Ba, ba, ba.
Says, been watching on YouTube.
On the YouTube.
On the YouTubes. We should come over to Facebook more often. It's a lot more lively over here. Jason Harwell asks, sorry if you already explained this, but can you talk a little about the brushes you're using and how to achieve that super fluffy, puffy fur?
Nope.
Okay.
I already talked about it. Yeah, I can show you. But let me continue on this real quick. But we will go back to it. It's all about creating a brush that will create patterns. That's what it all comes down to. You want something that's going to create patterns. And you just got to find that pattern. Everything, everything is a pattern. Whether it's leaves in a tree, the fluffy texture of a cat, it's a pattern. And so the goal is to find the randomness of that pattern, or at least something that's close to the randomness, and replicate that. So that's what I try to do with my brushes, is I try to find what that pattern might be, or at least like water. Water is a pattern. When you see ripples in the water, it's just finding the shapes of those ripples and trying to replicate them and get the randomness of them. Too far.
Gabby says, "Please help me. I'm almost done with half a pan of cornbread I made last night. I can't stop."
Stop it.
Stop it.
Aaron, do you have any advice on character design?
No. My character design course, I've got tons of advice. I can talk your ear off. Matter of fact, I've got a course that does talk your ear off. That's such a broad question. But if you go to my website, creatureartteacher.com, you will find my entire character design course is for sale for $5. It is $5, right? Yeah. It's only $5, and it's how many hours is that course? Do you remember?
Over 16 hours.
Yeah, it's an over 16 hours course, and it's $5. Come on, you can't beat that.
$5.
And that will answer all your questions about character design.
Rigo Varela asks, "Are you doing a notebook tour? I saw one by Proco. I really appreciate the story behind it and the artwork. Your work is great from our childhood from Disney movies. Thank you."
What was the question?
Will you do a notebook tour like Proco did? Where I guess
I go around and show the movie The Notebook.
He's showing your notebooks of your work, like your sketchbooks or notebooks or anything like that.
No, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a notebook tour anytime soon. No, but I do talk about my sketchbooks quite a bit. Matter of fact, my good friend Manny Carrasco, who I think is still listening, he's going to be doing a
course on keeping a sketchbook.
Yep, a course on keeping good sketchbooks, what it takes. His sketchbooks are pretty darned amazing.
And Junie Vivian from an earlier question that someone else asked said, "Speaking of patterns, could you explain a bit on leopard patterning? I'm doing a painting right now of 2 leopards."
Did you do research? So you got to do your research. But leopards start with basically spots on the head and around the head, and then they gradually move into rosettes around the body. And they're very random. But they're like fingerprints though. They, no 2 leopards have the same spot pattern. I'm trying to keep this loose. Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked.
Is this brush created by you?
Yeah, all my brushes are. All my brushes are created by little old me.
By yours truly.
By me.
All of our brushes are also just $1.
Oh, that's right. All of our brushes. Nice segue, Nick. All of our brushes are $1.
Do you still get in touch with Glenn Keane? Like
I haven't talked to Glenn in probably 5 years. We talked briefly at CTN a couple years ago, but we haven't really had a conversation in probably 5 years, 6 years.
Well, he was working on Over the Moon for a couple of years. That takes a lot of time.
So here I want some of the snow to catch light, and even though it's, you know, it looks like it's white already, there's room for it to go brighter, and that's what I'm trying to do here.
Jason Harwell asks, can we rewatch this live stream or others to see where you already talked about fur?
Yeah.
Or do any of your online courses cover it specifically?
Yes and yes.
And lastly, are the brushes you used for it in any of the brush packs you have for sale?
Yes. My original custom brush pack set is, these brushes are in there.
I'm also placing a link in the comments. You have a free video on YouTube on how to paint fur.
Oh, that's right.
People were asking about it.
Awesome.
What is your favorite source for reference images if you can't take the photos yourself? Outside of Google, I don't have any clue where to look.
I don't have I don't do it. I mean, I'll pull stuff from Google, and what I'll do if I don't have the right source material is I'll really study up on the anatomy and get a sense of how the animal is built, and then I'll look at video, mainly video of the real animal, and get a better sense there, and then I just start creating it out of my head. But that is so not ideal.
Have you ever tried to draw lynx? It's the country, it's the animal that represents my country, and I think it would be cool to see a drawing of one made by you.
Hold on one second.
And Martin Berger is asking a really important question.
You did a lynx on a previous
Right there, there it is.
Huh?
Here's a lynx. This is one that I did a couple years ago.
Nice.
Notice the rocks are the same?
That was on a previous live stream.
Yeah. So there's a lynx for you. Had fun with that. Dustin, what did you say?
Martin Berger's got a really important question.
Okay.
Have you saved?
Yes. Yes, I have. I have saved. This is so much better doing this like this.
And Cora Dawson asks, Aaron, what's your favorite time of year, season-wise?
Spring and fall. Spring. Well, fall.
Spring and fall?
Yes. Why, you ask? I like the weather, and in fall, spring is rebirth, so you're seeing a lot of baby animals, and then in the fall, all the animals are at their peak.
I like summer because we take 3 months off. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Okay.
Do
We
we?
take 3 months.
Nobody gives me nothing.
How would you render snow and dust in such a drawing? Do you have brushes for that?
I do. I have a snow, dust, and particle
Debris,
debris brush.
Yep.
For $1. I think it's a pack of like 50 brushes or something.
Rain, snow, dust, and debris.
Yes. You think of it, we've got it.
Yeah, I think some of my brushes are in one pack where it's like the angled like caution stripes and crystals and mud and like all different sorts of kinds of brushes, just all random. Now, do you have a course on storyboarding?
Yep, by Lyndon Ruddy.
Also at its lowest price ever right now.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to give this a little bit more warmth in the light areas. There we go, that feels better. Better, better, and better. Now I'm going to go cooler in the shadow areas.
You've talked a lot about using videos instead of photos as reference before. Do you have any tips on that? I find it hard to draw from video.
Freeze frame it. It's just you gotta have the right.
It's easier with high quality video.
I was gonna say you have to have good quality to start with, but freeze frame it to start with if you're having a hard time. We'll see where it goes after that.
I also think it's a misconception. I think a lot of people, especially young artists, they're trying to copy what they see.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to do that.
No, I'm not.
You're trying to use it to inform what you draw, not copy what you see, right?
Right. Exactly. So I'm going to try making a lichen brush. Let's see if we can do this. So what is that going to be? Well, I've got these lichens right here. I'll show you. Here's our cat. See the difference between our reference? I want you to see this. I don't want reference to be your reference to be, for you to be a slave to your reference. Geez, I couldn't get it out. So look at the difference between what I've got here and the reference right here. First of all, the composition is completely different. And we've added light and shadow, whereas this is all flat light. The background we've completely changed. So don't be afraid to do things like that. You can do whatever you want, you know. And so we've just got this cat right now as reference for you know, the posing and that sort of thing. But what I want to see if I can do is create this. See these lichens? All these different color lichens on the rock? I need something that's going to be like that. So that's the challenge. Now, like I said earlier, that's a pattern. There is a pattern there. And it's very random, but I have an idea of how I can create that pattern in a brush. So once again, here's our file that we make brushes with. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to grab just a dark color, because your brush is only, as far as the pattern, only see in black and white. And I'm going to create a lichen shape. Let's do this. Let's use this brush. We're going to go here, we're going to turn that off. We're going to turn off the transfer. So it's fairly dark. And I'm going to create just kind of this random
I got a question from Citizen Seagal.
shape.
How do you enhance your line work? What practice should I do?
How do I enhance my line work?
Yeah. Like, how do you make them like how do you improve on your line work? Like
Just
like
draw
this.
a lot. You know, improving on your line work to me is the same as improving on your draftsmanship. So it's doing it a lot.
Doing it a lot and lots of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the more you draw, the better you'll get. So I'm going to go with this. I don't know if I've put too many in here, because I might have to do it another way, but let's try this. And I'm going to just add a little bit of texture in here. Let's do, where is it? Let's do that. There we go. So we got a little bit of texture. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn off that background. I'm going to go up to Edit. We're going to go Define Brush Preset again. I'm going to hit OK. We're going to turn this off, turn this on, turn on another layer. So once again, I've got this. I don't want, that's obviously not what I want. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to go over to my spacing. I'm going to open up the spacing on my lichen right here. I'm going to open it up quite a bit. I'm going to go to my shape dynamics. We're going to flip the Y, flip the X, so we have some randomness there. I want to go really big with my size jitter. So we're going to get a lot of difference between there. Now, there's another thing we can do, angle jitter. See, now we're going to get some randomness in how it's angled. I don't want to do the roundness. I think I'm going to leave that out. But now all of a sudden, I've got some nice, look at that. I can build them up on top of each other. Some nice lichens. Now it's the wrong color. That's all right. Now we're going to save this brush. Okay. Now, once again, look at what we've got here. We've got these green lichens and these orange lichens. The green ones look like they're on top of everything. So I'm going to start with the orange lichens. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to put these on another layer. I'm going to put it above the local color layer. I'm going to grab that orange. It's a pretty bright orange, but I'm putting it under the shadow layer that I put in here, so it's going to look like it's already in shadow. Look at that. We're creating these lichens. Now watch this. I want to make it feel like they're on another angle, like along the side here. So I can come up to the shape and I can turn them. Oops, that's not the way I wanted to do it. Hold on. Let me try a different, oh, actually they're going to spin in different directions, so I'm not going to be able to. If I do direction, I don't know if that helps. No, that doesn't help. I have to do the angle. I have to take off the angle jitter. There we go. So you got to experiment here. See, now it looks like they're on the side of the rock. They're at an angle. Boom. Boom, baby. So now we've got some white lichens in here. I want to go back to my brush tip shape and open that back up. We're going to go back to angle jitter. Shrink some of these. Then if they get a little out of hand, you just got to go in and erase them back. That feels pretty good. I'm liking that. Just erase back. See, this is all one layer now. I could have alpha locked it or created a mask, but the rocks are they're all connected. It's all one layer now. So now let's get to the green lichens. So right about in here. They look about like that. So what I'm going to have to do is clean up these edges. Look at that, we've got lichens. And it's completely random. It's a random pattern that we've got. You just keep changing the size of your brush.
I'm liking that.
Can you make these brushes available? I love that lichen brush.
Yeah, want to do that, Nick? Can we do that?
I think we're a little behind on brushes that we're already supposed to make available.
Oh, that's right. We'll see what we can do. If we can get out to you, we will. How about that? Yeah, because we owe some other brushes. All right, so this is going to be at an angle. So watch this. So I'm going to go back to my brush tip shape, change that angle ever so slightly, come back to here, get rid of the angle jitter.
Here's one. I'm going to kind of consolidate their question and rephrase it. I hate to be the person that asked you to request this or that or whatever, but oh well, here goes. Today's the anniversary of the death of someone I know, and their favorite animal was the tapir. And I wanted to request that one day maybe you could do a demo or a mini tutorial on drawing a tapir. Those animals are really very endangered and are essentially the gardeners and planters of the jungle because they chew up and poop out so many seeds. They help reforest the jungle a lot.
Yeah.
So can you draw a tapir one day? Is it just
Yep, I will draw a tapir. I've actually drawn tapirs from life in the past, and I will do that.
Ever drawn a kudu?
Yes. I've seen a kudu in real life, in the wild. And a lesser kudu.
Ooh.
I live in the French Alps, and we often have
Lucky you.
We often have beautiful, shiny, tiny crystal snow dust / flakes floating in the wind and reflecting in the sun, which gives almost a sense of fairy dust with the weather. I'm thinking it would be very nice to have something like that in this painting. Just saying.
Well, how's it feel to want? That sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. So look at that, I cheated so much. I love cheating. Look at that, we made lichens because we created a lichen brush. Now I'm just going through and cleaning it up.
Have you ever drawn a maned wolf?
You ever seen a man eat his own head? I have drawn a maned wolf. I have drawn a maned wolf. Actually, we're very close to finishing this. It's going to require some very few details. I got a couple more shadows I need to push in here. We're going to put some highlights in the snow. Watch this. This is going to be fun. Now that we've got everything down, I'm going to go warmer and brighter. And we're going to push some Some of the snow right here. Now the snow, the light part of the snow, because it's not in the sunlight, it's going to reflect back the coolness of the sky, the blue. So I think I'm going to push that a little more. Make it a little more blue. Mr. Blue Sky.
I'm still waiting for the cheetah brush from October's drawing workshop. I think we put that in there.
I thought we did too. If we didn't put it in there, let us know. We apologize. But I thought it was in there too. Was it a spot brush?
I think so, yeah.
It's making spots?
Yeah, I thought I put it in there. Okay, now.
Oh, I'm still working on the overlay layer. Is that what was I doing that the whole time? Oh no. I was working on the overlay layer. Doggone it. No wonder. No wonder it looked terrible. Terrible. Working on the wrong layer. Nobody told me.
Yeah, man, we answer the questions. You do the other.
I was like, why does this look so weird? Oh, look at that. So much better. It's getting better all the time.
It's getting better.
Been having a weird issue with my Cintiq, where, well, the brush sensitivity, it's either too light on the brush that I usually use, so then I go into the settings and change I just move it over one notch, and now it's then it's too dark. You know, it's been acting kind of weird. I don't know if it's a
Photoshop update.
A Photoshop update issue. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like right now, it's too light.
Hey, for that person that asked about the cheetah brush that was at the live stream back in October, it's in there. It's in the, you go to my courses for the person and find the animal drawing live stream, there's a link right below the video that says, click here to download class images and bonus files, and the pattern brush is in there. There you go.
So there you go.
There
yeah.
you go.
You thought you had him, huh? I'm going to put a multiply layer because we're going to go in and I'm going to add some more shadows.
Someone says the same thing happened to them with the latest Photoshop update.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I had it really tuned in to draw just the way I like it, and now I have to press really hard, or it goes too dark. It's really just annoying.
Or if there's a driver update or Wacom.
Maybe.
Edwin asks, hi Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? What is the best way to use grays? I'd like to see your stream. Thanks for taking the time.
Well, that's a big question. And actually, Ronnie Williford's course on color has a whole section on grays. Grays, that's most of everything you see in this image is grays. They're just warm grays or cool grays. Very rarely do we have pure color in our images. And so understanding grays and their temperatures, that's really where it's at. Like if you look at the snow, there's cool grays in there. It looks like it's blue. It's not blue, it's cool gray. Oh, you do? Is it too? Okay. So, the best way to understand it is just to look at atmosphere. Look at I don't know. There's so many, but it really comes down to the temperature of your grays. And I really recommend Ronnie Williford's course on color, because he does touch on that quite a bit. I didn't think we were going to go this long. We've been out for 2.5 hours, haven't we?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Well, I know, but we were supposed to go get more furniture.
Where are we?
Yeah. All right, so I've got some rock textures in here that I'm digging.
Are there any animals you still struggle with after being an artist for so long?
Not really. You know, it's not so much the animal you struggle with. There's artistic elements about things that I struggle with here and there. But, you know, learning how to draw a specific animal, it doesn't matter what the animal is. You go through the same process to understand them. There are some that are more complex than others. You know, drawing an elephant is a little more complex than drawing a bunny, but it's still the same process. So it's not really the animals I struggle with. I do struggle with, you know, trying to learn different mediums and that sort of thing. And I wouldn't call it struggle, it's just a learning curve. Learning curve.
A learning curve. I love the orange lichens on the photograph. Can you add some more orange ones?
I probably could. Right now I'm just adding more texture in the rocks. Lighting changes. Very quickly. There we go.
I'm all out of questions over here.
That's all right. I'm almost done. Because I'm going to next jump into the grasses that are poking out, and then we're going to be...
Fun fact, lichen are some of the longest living, oldest known species. There have been species of lichen that have been dated to almost 9,000 years old.
What?
Wow.
Wow.
Like a single living lichen. Is that all?
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
Weird, because I would think of them as so delicate.
Yeah, I mean, some species of lichens will take 25 years to grow to the size of a quarter.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but
just-
it also seems like they can be freaking fried by the sun, you know what I mean? They're just easily
Yeah.
washed away.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing all the grass on its own layer. And I'm doing it all the same color right now. And what I'm going to be able to do is come back in, and I'm going to isolate so that lock it so I only can draw on the grass layer. And so in the shadow areas, I'll be able to push them darker. In the light areas, I'll be able to push them lighter. But right now, I'm just focusing on getting the random patterns of the grass.
Do you recommend I study your anatomy course by drawing with you, or just really trying to understand it and then apply it to my own drawings?
It's however you're comfortable with it. Some people are more comfortable drawing with, some people want to watch, some people watch twice. They'll watch it without drawing and then they'll draw with. That's probably how I recommend doing it.
Goro says, it's so funny hearing you guys interacting with Nick live. I always imagine him with wires coming out of his head plugged into the feed with how fast he drops the comments. And Martin's asking, will you do more live streams with Glenn Villepou in the next weeks?
Nothing planned right now. We probably will in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, you said that went well, huh? That was a
Yeah,
good time.
it was really great. I enjoyed it.
And Zonji says, do you know that lichens are multiple organisms living in symbiosis?
That I didn't know. It's funny, that's what Dustin is. Well, when I
Do you
bought,
like drawing birds?
yes, birds were the first thing that I learned how to draw.
If they give you an old animal skull, can you draw over it and know what kind of animal it was?
Yes. Most of the time.
Nick is wireless, as it turns out.
We're almost there. Almost there.
And I know you answered this question earlier in the
Then
stream.
don't ask it.
But it's for the latecomers. But are there any news on how the books are coming along?
They're actually coming along great. We're almost ready to put out the dummy print.
The layout is pretty much done. We're just doing a little final proofing. Then we're going to be sending it off to get our draft copy.
Draft
And
copy,
from
there you
there,
go.
it's going to the press. So
Dummy print.
still should be able to hit our June deadline.
So I've got everything on the same layer now. All these grasses. I do this here. Let's clean those up. So now let me come up to these grasses here, and we're gonna alpha lock it. And now I'm gonna go dark in the areas that I want them to stand out a little, or feel like they're in shadow. Yeah, that feels pretty good.
Have you ever drawn a Pokemon?
Nope.
Are you ever going to draw a Pokemon?
Is there a way to look up different brushes on Photoshop, or do you have to purchase them, or can you make them too? Or is
Yes,
all
I
that
make
explained in your course?
brushes all the time. I just did 2 demos during this talk, so Go back and watch this again, and you'll see how I make brushes.
And you also have a course on the site that talks about.
I go over exactly how to make your own brushes, and very much so.
Any news on Snow Bear? Is that still a thing?
Still a thing.
It's still a thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, we are cranking away.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
How's that looking? Well, it's not too bad. I think I want to go a little darker down the bottom.
Down the bottom, down the road there.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a darker color here. I'm going to go to my gradient tool. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Here we go again.
So then I'm going to come in here and just erase the gradient so I get more of a silhouette. There. Because now I want to go into the sky a little bit more. Riders on the storm.
Riders of the storm.
On the storm. On the storm.
Riders
on
of the
the storm.
storm.
All right. Shape dynamics. There, I'm liking that silhouette better. Now I might put some clouds back here.
How are you live streaming screen sharing on Facebook from your Wacom Cintiq? I didn't know you could do that. It's using a software called OBS.
Oh, BS.
Oh, every time. But it stands for Open Broadcast Software, and through that software, you're able to screen capture anything that is going on the main screen, and so whatever he sees, it can be put on the software and be streamed out to the public. And with the software, you can also add other cameras and other screens and all sorts of stuff. It's really fun. It's what a lot of gamers do for their gaming live streams.
Do I want that? I don't know. I'm talking to myself. Let me try something else. I'm gonna try something else.
Do you prefer digital painting now? I've had it a short amount of time and found that it feels faster and easier in a lot of ways.
I don't know that it's faster. No, it's faster. It definitely is faster, depending on what it is that you're painting. I don't know that it's always easier. But it's definitely its own medium for sure. So I'm trying to get him silhouetted against the sky a little bit more. So I figured I'd put a white cloud behind him. said,
Processing. Processing.
There. Let's get over here. Yeah, I'll just go with that. Nice and simple. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Like a boss.
See, this is where I go, stop! I'm trying to scream at myself to stop putting the clouds in.
Stop! Stop it! You don't want to do this anymore.
I'm going to add a little bit of color in there. Like him. I think we got it.
You think so?
Pretty close. We're pretty close. Come in here with just a few. Lighter pieces of grass.
One more thing.
Kinda. Just need to vary up these grasses a little bit. They're getting a little too repetitive. There we go. So there's our cat. Let me, I'm going to push the color a little bit. Let's take this. Oops. I'm going to take all of this. We're going to put that into a folder. I'm going to copy that there folder. I'm going to go layer, merge group. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go image, adjustments, hue and saturation. I'm just going to push that saturation a little bit. There we go, that feels good. Push that saturation just a touch. Oh yeah. Now, I'm going to try one more thing. Oh, I just said it, didn't I?
One more thing.
Bingo.
Bingo.
We're going to do printable live stream bingo cards, I think.
All right, so what I'm going to do is go to color dodge, and we're going to hit opacity down to 12%, and I'm going to get a nice bright orange color, and I'm going to try burning in a couple of little areas here. with our color dodge. I want to get nice contrast here.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Give them a zoom and pan so they can see some of the detail.
All right, that's a good idea. Let me hit down here a little bit. So there's our color, and I'm gonna go to my smudge tool. I want to lose some of these edges. Just soften them a little bit. It'll get the cat to sit in the image a little better, and it'll make him feel a little furrier.
Do you recommend anything for helping develop your own style, or does it come naturally?
It comes naturally. You just gotta you develop your own style by working. That's the best thing I can tell you. Your style just happens as a result of working naturally. You know what I forgot?
What'd you forget?
Whiskers?
Whiskers.
Whiskers?
Someone mentioned it in the comments.
Yeah.
Whiskers?
Where's the whiskers?
What's the size of this painting?
18 inches by 24 inches at 300 DPI.
That's pretty big.
There. I like this one. Happy with the way this came out. There he is. Cougar.
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 Hey, one more thing.
Another one more thing?
No, I didn't say that.
Caroline thinks that the Blaise bingo should be turned into a drinking game.
Bingo.
If you complete a bingo, you take a shot.
The bingo one, I don't even realize I'm saying that one. Do I say that one a lot?
No, just the game of bingo.
Oh,
like the different phrases that we say.
Gotcha.
But there we go, and
Yeah.
and one more thing.
Idiot! What a stupid thing to say.
Huh?
I'm talking to myself.
That's bingo.
I always say, whenever I say bingo, I always think of
Christmas Vacation.
yeah.
Bingo.
All right, there it is. That's it, baby.
That's it. That's the last of it. Man, that's good.
Use one of these here. Adding a little texture. There it is. We're done. Our first live stream in the new office. First image. And the sale, yes. So I just want to remind you guys that our COVID sale, where we've dropped everything down to $1, $3, $5, that's going on now at creatureartteacher.com. So go on over there and check it out. All the different courses we talked about today, more than likely, are on there and for sale. They're on there, but more than likely they're for sale. So almost everything on the site is for sale. So go on over to creatureartteacher.com and check it out. And thank you so much for hanging out today. Here's our cat image, and just pan and scan a little bit. And once again, look how loose. You don't have to be super detailed. We did this in 2.5 hours. You can get a painting done in 2.5 hours if you don't noodle on it. You just kind of get it done and get it done. So here it is. Oh, I didn't sign it yet.
One more thing.
And also, I want to also reiterate this. I want to show you our source material. So here's our reference. Here's our finished painting. Let the painting be the painting. You decide what the painting is going to be. This is your world. All right? That reference is there just to be that. Look how much we changed the rocks. We changed a lot of things. We changed a lot of the shapes to suit our needs. And so that's what I want you to get from this. So going out there and create your own worlds. Don't let the reference dictate to you what you're going to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time. Let me bring this up again. There we go. I had a great day. Our first painting done in the new studio. We've had Nick here. We had Dustin. We'll probably do maybe another unboxing. We got a lot more maquettes that are still in boxes that I want to open up for you guys live. I think that could be fun, and we'll do some more of that. You guys got anything to add other than our sale we got going on? And we got, keep in mind, remember, stay tuned. We'll start doing pre-sales soon for my upcoming course on costume figure drawing, with an emphasis on fabric and folds. And all that
Before that, we'll have a pre-sale really soon. We've got a new course on storyboarding for TV coming out from
Tim Hodge. I forgot about that.
In fact, the course is completely filmed. We're just going through the edit now, so that should be out in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Pre-sale will be
Yep. So that's exciting. That's Tim Hodge. If you guys know Tim Hodge. What's that?
Before
the end of the month. Yep. So stay tuned. We got another storyboard course coming up in about a week or two. So hope you guys had a great time today. We had a blast going out there. Put some beauty back into the world. Be nice to somebody. Put your shopping cart away. I'm looking at my little swollen hands. And I will talk to you next week from our new studio. Take it easy.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Glad you guys enjoyed this stream. And for any of you newcomers here, if you're interested in seeing any wildlife photography, you can check out my Instagram at Dustin_Blaise, where I'm occasionally posting new wildlife photos that I take out in the field. And so be sure to go over there and check that out. And also on sale is my photo reference packs. And I believe those are out there for $1 each. Is that right, guys?
Yes.
Awesome. So be sure to go over there, check all that out. And we'll see you guys next week. And as always, Cowboy Bebop. See ya.